Guys, I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys are all staying safe, staying good. Today, what we're going to talk about is integers. So if you remember from the beginning of the year, integers are just whole, positive, or negative numbers. When we talk about integers, we're not going to be talking about fractions. We're not going to be talking about decimals. All we're worried about are whole numbers. So an example of an integer would be maybe positive 1,300, or maybe negative 12, or positive 5 million. Notice that there are no decimals or fraction. An example of what not an integer would be anything with a fraction, so maybe 2/3 or negative 0.3. Notice that those things that are not an integer have fractions and decimals. So right now we're talking about whole, positive, or negative numbers. Remember that we talked about this at the beginning of the year a little bit. It's come up every single unit. It's something that me and Mr. Mazeros feel like we should still continue to practice. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So the goal of today is to review integer rules and practice them. Once again, remember to do the Google form and the assignment that goes with this. If you have questions, email me at brandon.castillo@fayette.kyschools.us, or you can email or write on the Google Classroom, and I will respond as soon as I can. So I'm going to go through kind of the rules that they are, and then we're going to go through some examples and how you can think about them in different ways, how you can solve these problems. So if you look at the Google Drive, you'll notice that this sheet is in there, and this is kind of the practice for today. If you can print it out, that's awesome. If you can't, just please have a paper copy with you and keep your work with you. Please make sure to do the Google form and get all 100% right. You can redo and edit your responses every single time until you get it correct. So integers, just like what we just talked about, are a set of positive and negative whole numbers. So positive and negative whole numbers, and they can be put on a number line. So remember, a number line, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then so on, and then 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on to the left. That is what is going to help us for this example. We're going to look at adding integers, and when we add integers, if they have the same sign, it just makes it bigger. So a positive plus a positive makes a bigger positive. A negative plus a negative makes a bigger negative. So if you look at the example down here, the positive 4 plus the positive 5 is a positive 9. A negative 4 plus a negative 5 equals a negative 9. So you'll see that once you add them together, it makes a bigger positive or a bigger negative if they are the same side. One way to look at that is you can go up here to your number line and say, okay, I started at positive 4, which would be right here, and then I went and added 5 to it. So I'm going to go to the right 5 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I ended up at positive 9. When we add negatives, because you're adding a negative, once it's going negative, you're going to go the other way. So negative 4, I added a negative 5, so I went to the left, negative 5. It's basically like subtracting 5. So I went from negative 4 to negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is one way to think of it. Another way to think of it is when you are playing a sport or maybe a game of any sort, if you're up by 4 points, so right now I was up by 4, and then I added 5 points, so I scored 5 more points. Well, now I'm going to be up 9 points. That's one other way to think of it. If you look at the negative side, if you're down by 4 points in a game, and then the other team scores an additional 5 points, so the other team scores 5 points. I say the other team and you're down because it's negative. Well, then you're going to be down 9 points at that point. Because if I'm down 4, then the other team scores 5. then I'm down another 9 points. So we can go to different signs now, and what you're going to do is you're going to subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number. So if you had -4 times or plus a +5, then that's going to be +1 because +5 is bigger than the -4. And then it kind of reverses on the next one. -5 is bigger than +4, so it goes to a -1. And then finally, when you have subtracting integers, you can keep, change, flip, or keep, change. So what you're going to do is you notice that I have a +4. So what I'm going to do is keep the positive sign. That's the first one. So there's the keep. A negative, change to a positive. A negative, change to another positive. So keep, change. And that is what you can do to put it into addition and solve it maybe more easily from there. That is kind of the way that you solve adding and subtracting. And then multiplying and dividing are exactly the same. If it's the same sign, so if they're both negative in this case, it's going to become a positive. If it's both positive, it's going to become a positive because they're the same sign. Different signs, positive and a positive and a negative are negative. So if it's the same sign, it's positive. If it's different signs, it's negative. Now I'm just going to go through maybe 3 examples, and then the rest are on your own. So right now, this first one, it's addition, and I'm adding a positive to another positive. So that because they're both positive, I should have a bigger positive. So 1 plus 15 is 16. Next, number 2, or we'll go to number 2. -6 minus -17. One way you can do it is if you can think about it in your head, that's great. But what I do is I like to change it. So -6, or if I keep, change. So I'm going to keep, oh, sorry, I spelled keep wrong. I'm going to keep, change. And I'm not going to write it out because this is not working great for me. Maybe I will write it out. All right, so -6 is going to keep, so -6. Negative sign is going to change, so that turns into a positive. -17 is going to turn into a +17. So I'm down to -6 plus 17. Once again, there are a couple of ways to do this. The first is you can think, okay, if I was down by 6 points in a game and then I scored because it's plus 17, if I scored 17, I'm going to be up at this point. The other way to think about it is because they have different signs, one's a negative and one's a positive, it's going to make, I'm going to subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number, which in this case would be positive 17. So 17 minus 6 is a positive 11. I will do one more and then you guys are on your own. Once again, please remember to do the Google form. If you have any questions or need any help, please let me know. Please email, please just reach out in some way. Number 3, it's a subtraction sign, so I'm going to keep, change again. So a positive 19, keep. A negative turns into a change, which is a positive. -2 turns into a positive 2. 19 plus 2 is equal to 21. So number 3 is 21. Remember when you're doing the Google form, just to pick whole numbers, and you should always end up with a whole number, and it should always just save a number. So for example, if I was answering number 1, I would write just 16. I wouldn't spell it out, I would just put 16 for the Google form. Remember, you can edit your responses and get a 100%. There shouldn't be any excuse not to get 100% on this assignment. If you need help, please raise your hand. Ask if you need help with anything besides math, if you need anything that I can help you with, whether it be at school or if something is going on, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do my best to help you in any way possible. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.